So, this was the Fallout episode of Dynamite from Full Gear, and it kicked off with a segment backstage with the Elite, and Kenny Omega said that he had some things to fix, so he was going to be out for a while, and honestly, I had no idea that he was working injured this entire time, and the fact that he was, and he was still putting on great matches with guys like Bryan Danielson and Adam Page, honestly, I think that just speaks to how good of a wrestler he is. Like, up until the end of Full Gear, I honestly had no idea that he was hurt, and I watched a video of him afterwards getting like a chiropractic session done, and he was talking about how when he was in the ring he would get like vertigo and the whole ring would just start spinning, and he just taught himself how to wrestle in a spinning ring, which is honestly insane to think about. Like, again, I really just think that that proves that he's one of the absolute best wrestlers in the world. But anyways, Omega said that he had some things to fix, and he asked Adam Cole and the Young Bucks if they could hold down the fort while he was gone, and Adam Cole tried to respond, but Kenny Omega said that he was directing that request towards the Bucks, which made for a really awkward moment, and I actually really like this because, again, I've been saying that I think they're planting the seeds for Cole eventually leaving the Elite and reforming the Undisputed Era within AEW, hopefully once Kyle O'Reilly gets here. So the fact that they sort of had this weird moment where Kenny Omega almost sort of didn't trust Cole, I honestly think that makes that scenario a lot more likely to happen. But Matt Jackson said that they got this and that he could go get fixed up. And I don't know how long Omega is going to be gone, but I just hope that he takes a good rest because God knows he's earned it. And I'm honestly hoping he comes back as close to 100% as possible so he could extend his career further and have more great matches instead of just burning out now. And then we had a celebration for Hangman Adam Page becoming the new AEW World Champion by officially proclaiming this day National Cowboy Shit Day. And the Dark Order were in the ring and they celebrated with their friend. And Hangman Adam Page said that he knew what his next challenge was since the winner of the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament was decided on the same night at Full Gear. And sure enough, that winner, Bryan Danielson, interrupted the celebration and came out to confront Adam Page. And Danielson and Page kind of poked at each other a little bit with a few verbal barbs, and eventually they came to blows and had to be separated by the Dark Order. And then Bryan Danielson took on the Dark Order's Evil Uno, and in the end Danielson hit Evil Uno with a running knee strike and then did his move where he grabbed Evil Uno's arms and then started stomping on his head, and then Danielson applied a triangle choke and Evil Uno passed out. And then Tony Schiavone came into the ring to interview Bryan Danielson, and Danielson made his intentions clear when he said that he was going to take out every member of the Dark Order until he got to face Adam Page. So he challenged another member of the Dark Order, Colt Cabana, to a match next week, and honestly, I don't know if this is the start of a heel turn for Bryan Danielson, because to pick off each member of your opponent's friends just to get to him is a little heelish, but I don't know. Either way, it makes for a pretty good story. And then Tony Schiavone was backstage and interviewed Eddie Kingston, and Daniel Garcia and 2.0 interrupted him, and they had a stare down, so I guess they're going to be feuding. And then Orange Cassidy and Tomohiro Ishii took on the Blade and the Butcher. I just love the fact that we're getting to see wrestlers from different promotions all come together to wrestle in this company. But I said that I really hoped that Orange Cassidy and Matt Hardy's rivalry was going to be over after that lumberjack match on Rampage, and I guess I was wrong because they're still going with it. And they tried to end it the same way when the Blade tried to use his brass knucks, but Orange Cassidy jumped off the top rope and took out the entire Hardy family office before they could use the knucks. And then Ishii hit the Blade with a delayed brainbuster for the win. And then Tony Schiavone was backstage with FTR, Andrade El Idolo, and Andrade's assistant, Jose. And basically, as the losers from Full Gear, they challenged Cody, Pac, and the Lucha Brothers to an 8-man tag team match with Malachi Black on their side as well. And I've been wanting to say this for a while, but I've been on the record saying that I don't really like the fact that almost everybody is on some sort of team, mainly because because a lot of these teams just seem to fade in and out and they just feel very makeshift. But I think I figured out the reason why they're doing it, and it's because it's the only way they can showcase the wrestlers they have, because they honestly just have too many. So to put them in team situations will allow more wrestlers to get TV time, because I think honestly they just have too many stars on their roster and you can't really show them one at a time in one-on-one rivalries without taking up a whole lot of the show. So I think that's why they do a lot of this team stuff, is because they can showcase a lot of their wrestlers in one go. Like, think about it. They have a lot of technically proficient stars like Malachi Black, Andrade El Idolo, FTR, and Pac. So you might as well throw them all together on different teams and have them face each other just so you can give them TV time and minimize the amount of segments you take up. Oh yeah, and Tully Blanchard also hinted at an upcoming battle with his former Four Horsemen brother, Arn Anderson, so that should be interesting. And then we had a TBS Women's Title Tournament quarter-final match between Hikaru Shida and Nyla Rose. And to be honest, if Shida won at Full Gear, I think it only makes sense that Nyla Rose would be the one to advance in the tournament when it actually counts. So in the end, Serena Deeb got involved again and took out the knee of Shida when the ref wasn't looking, but Shida bounced back and tried to go for her katana kick, but Nyla blocked it and submitted Shida with a standing stretch muffler. So Nyla Rose advances in the tournament, and I imagine because Serena Deeb got involved, they're probably going to continue the rivalry between Deeb and Shida. And then Malachi Black sent a message to Rhodes, Pac, and the Lucha Brothers, and it was a sort of veiled message, but I think the point of it was that he did indeed accept the offer from FTR to form an alliance and go after Rhodes, Pac, and the Lucha Brothers. And then MJF came to the ring with Shawn Spears and Wardlow. And holy shit, dude, I've been waiting for this. Because while MJF was going on about how nobody was as good as him, the best in the world, CM Punk, came out. And I think this is one of the rivalries that everybody has been waiting for. Like, seriously, I can't even imagine how good the promo wars are going to be between Punk and MJF. But I think they did a good job teasing this rivalry, because they had Punk come into the ring and refuse to shake MJF's hand and just walk out of the ring right after. Oh, but real quick, I do want to talk about this because it's something that I've noticed happening a lot in AEW, and particularly with MJF. But I think the rivalries just end a little too quick here in AEW. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but do you remember the rivalry between MJF and Brian Pillman Jr.? Like, they had one match where MJF beat him, and then that was it. Brian Pillman Jr. just sort of disappeared from television after that. And now this rivalry with Darby, which I thought was going to go a little bit longer, just concluded after one match at Full Gear, and now MJF is going to launch into another completely new rivalry with CM Punk. I don't know, it just sort of makes the feuds that MJF has been in feel like filler feuds. You know what I mean? Like, these feuds don't really go anywhere long term, so they don't really feel that important, and they more so just feel like something for MJF to do. And I know I kind of sound like a fraud right now because I'm the guy who's complaining about Orange Cassidy and Matt Hardy's rivalry being dragged out too long, but I also don't think it should just end after one match at a pay-per-view or a special event. But either way, I'm still pretty excited for MJF's rivalry with CM Punk, mostly because those two are some of the best people I've ever seen on the mic. And then Tony Schiavone was backstage with Darby Allin, and I thought we really were going to get a rematch between Darby Allin and MJF, because Darby said that he wanted one, but Billy Gunn and the Gun Club showed up and challenged Darby to a match, and Darby accepted, so I guess Darby has moved on to a completely new rivalry as well. And then the Young Bucks and Adam Cole had a segment backstage where basically Cole set up a tag team match with Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy facing off against him and Bobby Fish. So I'm really excited for that because I want to see the Undisputed Era in AEW. And I feel like with each passing week, we're getting closer and closer to my dream scenario of Adam Cole leaving the Elite and reforming the Undisputed Era to feud against the Elite. And then the Acclaimed took on Dante Martin and Lio Rush. And in the end, Lio Rush hit a frog splash on Anthony Bowens to pin him for the win. And then Team Taz came out after the match and they tried to continue their campaign of recruiting Dante Martin to Team Taz. And then in the main event, we had a TNT title match between the champion Sammy Guevara and the debuting Jay Lethal. And this was an incredible match to the point where the fans were chanting "Fight Forever." But in the end, Sammy Guevara would finish off Lethal with the GTH and retain his title. And then the Inner Circle came out to celebrate with Sammy, and Sammy and Jay shook hands in a show of respect to end the show. So overall, a pretty good Fallout episode of AEW Dynamite, and we'll see what happens on Rampage.